Hey friends, welcome back to another video for our World Watercolor Month, 31 days of watercolor practice. Today we are channeling Bob Ross, no mistakes, just happy accidents for day 11. So today we are going to be painting some beautiful rolling hills with the gradient technique. So let's jump in and get started. Okay friends, so today we are going to be painting some simple rolling hills using our gradient technique that we learned a few videos back. So I have just taped off a border using washi tape. I like to create a border when I'm creating kind of like a landscape painting. I also just clipped down my page to keep it nice and flat because we will be using lots of water. I have a pencil and eraser here just to do a couple little outlines, and then obviously my paints and my paintbrushes. I do have that size 12 round and I have a size 8 round as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by just drawing a couple simple shapes for our rolling hills. So I'm going to start over here and I'm going to do a hill kind of coming down this way. Very simple. Then I'm going to do just another one like this. Basically, you're just drawing some like triangles. Okay. Then I'm going to come back over here, maybe make a deeper one, and then we'll just do one more like that. Keep it nice and simple. From here up is going to be our sky. So you can choose whether you want to do a gradient sky. Remember, going from our dark to light. And in order to do that, I would wet up my paper first, just the sky portion. Okay, nice and wet. And then a little refresher on our gradient going dark to light. I'm going to use a good amount of pigment. So load up my brush. And I'm just going to start pulling it down. And actually creating a gradient for your sky helps to create depth within your paintings. If you actually look at the sky in person or even a photo, you'll notice that as it gets closer to the horizon line, it actually gets lighter. And doing that in your paintings really helps to create depth. If it's one just simple flat wash, it doesn't feel as realistic. Now, obviously, we're not going for realism here, but we want to give it elements of, hints of realism so it looks kind of accurate, but still has that kind of artistic little flair to it. Okay, so now we're going to create our rolling hills, and we're going to do the exact same kind of technique here. But we're going to have to do it in sections because what we don't want to happen is we don't want the hills to bleed into each other. Remember, two colors that touch each other on the paper that are both wet will bleed into each other. We want to create some separation in between these hills. So we're going to do that by using a dark to light gradient, but also making sure that each section is dry so they are not bleeding into one another. So we want to work on another area which is not currently wet. So I'm actually going to start down here and we're going to create a gradient going from dark to light. However, the top of the hills are not going to be dark. We want that to be the lighter portion. Again, when we're looking at photography or even in real life, the sun is going to hit the highest peaks of nature, right? So if we have a hill here, the sun is going to be most likely touching the tops of those hills, and then as it gets further away it's going to get darker. So we want the tops of our hills to be nice and light and the bottom dark. So I'm going to start by wetting it up because I find this is our best option for creating that nice smooth gradient. And then we're going to pick our green, whatever green you want. Typically, I got to see what greens are in here. Typically, I find that if I look at a reference photo, the darker colors seem to be up close. And the further away something is, the lighter it is in color. So, or even hue, right? It's a little bit lighter in the distance, darker and more crisp up front. So I would tend to use a darker green, maybe for my front hills, and then the further I go back, they might be a little bit lighter. But instead of starting at the top, you're going to start at the bottom of your hill with the saturated color. And you're just going to slowly start to bring it up. Again, if there's too much pigment coming upwards, you want to wash off your brush, dry it on your paper towel. You don't want to bring up or add any more water to this. You want it to be all nice and smooth. And you're just going to slowly start to bring up that color until it reaches a really nice light value. Okay. Might go over it again because I'm crazy. No. Bring it up a little bit more. And you should have a nice light value. So we've done the gradient where it's just dark to light, but with this, you can also do a dual color gradient, which we also learned, having a darker color or hue of green at the bottom and a lighter one to the top. That also will create depth. But like I said, I don't want to work on another section that is going to be touching this section because it will bleed into each other and I want that separation. So this is actually looking a little bit on the flatter side. I think I'm trying to find a darker green in this palette. I think I might go over it one more time just to create that darkness. Wash off my brush, dry it, and just bring it upwards. Okay, so now we want to work on another hill that is not touching any wet areas, or we can wait for this to dry and work on the one right beside it. Our sky is fairly dry, so we can work on this hill now. Now, like I said, we can use different colors. The further something is away, the lighter it tends to be. So let's do an even lighter green. Maybe I'll just do like an olivey kind of green. Let's wet up our hill first. Okay, nice and wet. Not where it's pooling, but a nice sheen of color. Distribute the water evenly. And then I'm going to go in with my olive green just to change it up a bit. I love olive green. And I'm going to go back and forth like this. Tap off some of that color and bringing it upward. Remember, really light pressure is key to getting those nice smooth gradients. Now, if you want to do that dual color gradient or even add a lighter, a lighter color at the top, you can. Sometimes those hills will be sun-kissed and you might get a hint of yellow at the top. And you can bring it down and kind of mix it in the bottom. Kind of want a little bit of a different green here. But you're just working on creating those smooth transitions. Tap off some of that color, really light pressure, like so, okay? But using that transition from a dark to a light value is going to create so much depth in your work. So I'm going to do the last two kind of sped up, making sure that these two sections are dry before I do, and then you can see the final result. Okay, and there we go. There are our rolling hills, nice and simple, but you can see how creating those gradients from dark to light on each hill and how the lightness from that first hill kind of is a beautiful contrast between the darkness of the beginning of the second one. Just really creates a lot of depth. If you want to take this painting a step further, you could always just grab some dark green, create some fun trees on top of the hills, just like little dabs like this, but you can enhance this painting however you want to. So just have fun with it, be creative, and enjoy the process. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!